T. Common T. Let's use some lesser. It's always a good idea to use the cheaper ones to recharge your weapon and then use the more expensive ones to actually enchant it. Makes economic sense that way. Oh shit, I'm gonna die, aren't I? Yep, probably. Right, let's take some health potions. Health. Lingering damage health. Poison first, yep. Potion of health. I don't have any healing potions left, this is not good. Right, take this guy out, quick. I'm probably gonna die here. Right, time to run. Time to run fast. He's got lingering poison on him, so he should die, hopefully. 5-5. Heal, 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 heal. Right, now items, back to weapons. Leveled up there, nice, nice. Have I got my shield on? Dwarven shield, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I want to finish this guy. Where's the other one? Run, run, run. Where's the other guy? Yes, take him out, take him out. Good, got one, got one, got one. Come on, Lydia, help me out. Intense battle is ongoing. Don't kill Lydia, you fucker. Inventory. Right. Do you have any more poisons? Poison. I get trolls. They regenerate health. 2 at once is just ridiculous too. It's a lot of damage to deal with, for one thing. Right, we're gonna have to be very careful here. Very careful indeed. He doesn't seem to be coming for us. Now he is. Right. Use our shout on him. Just kite him around. Should drain his health a good bit. So he regenerates health, so it's stun him with a shield bash. Oh wow! Wow! I just did a huge finishing move on him. Sick. Getting really powerful right now. This is good. This is good. Sweet. Thought for sure I would die there. Better quick save after that intense battle. Put my weapons away. We really need to get some healing potions. Whoa. Another skill book. We haven't read this before. 2920. What's so important about the year 2920? Perhaps if I actually read these books I would know. Midyear version 6. Heavy armor increased to 45. Midyear book 6 of 2920. The last year of the first era. Alright, that's the last year of the first era. That's why it's important. The Imperial army is gathered to the south, said Cassier. They are a 2 weeks' march from Ald Leval and Lake Coronati, heavily armoured. Vivek nodded. Ald Leval and its sister city on the other side of the lake, Ald Malak, were strategically important fortresses. He had been expecting a move against them for some time. His captain pulled down a map of southwestern Morrowind from the wall and smoothed it out, fighting a gentle summer sea breeze wafting in from the open window. They were heavily armoured, you say? Asked the captain. Yes, sir, said Cassier. They were camped out near Bethel Grey in the Heartland, and I saw nothing about ebony, dwarven and Daedric armour, fine weaponry and siege equipment. How about spellcasters and boats? Asked Vivek. A horde of battle mages, replied Cassier, but no boats. As heavily armoured as they are, it will take them at least 2 weeks, like you said, to get from Bethel Grey to Lake Coronati. Vivek studied the map carefully. They'd be dragged down in the bogs if they tried to circle around Al-Marak from the north, so they must be planning to cross the straits here and take Al-Leval. Then they'd proceed around the lake to the east and take Al-Marak from the south. They'll be vulnerable along the straits, said the captain, provided we strike when they are more than halfway across and can't retreat back to the Heartland. Your intelligence has once again served us well, said Vivek, smiling to Cassier. We will beat back the Imperial aggressors yet again. 3rd Midyear 2920, Bethel Grey, Cyrodiil. Will you be returning back this way after your victory? Asked Lord Bethel. Prince Julek barely paid the man any attention. He was focused on the army packing its camp. It was a cool morning in the forest, but there were no clouds, all the markings of a hot afternoon march, particularly in such heavy armor. If we return shortly, it will be because of defeat, said the prince. He could see dawn in the meadow, the Pontiat Versedu Shai, paying his lordship's steward for the use of the village's food, wine, and whores. An army was an expensive thing for Curtes. My prince, said Lord Bethel with concern, is your army beginning a march due east? That will just lead you to the shores of Lake Coronati. You want to go southeast to get to the straits. You must make certain your merchants get their share of our gold, said the prince with a grin. Let me worry about my army's direction. 16th Midyear 2920, Late Coronati, Morrowind. Vivek stared across the blue expanse of the lake, seeing his reflection and the reflection of his army in the cool blue waters. What he did not see was the Imperial Army's reflection. They must have reached the straits by now, barring any mishaps in the forest. Tall, feather-thin lake trees blocked much of his view of the straits, but an army, particularly one clan in slow-moving heavy armor, could not move invisibly and silently. Let me see the map again, he called to his captain. Is there no other way they could approach? We have sentries posted in the swamps to the north, in case they're full enough to go there and be bogged under, said the captain. We would at least hear about it, but there is no other way across the lake except through the straits. Vivek looked down again at his reflection, which seemed to be distorting his image, mocking him. Then he looked back on the map. Spy, said Vivek, calling Cassier over. When you said the army had a horde of battle mages, what made you so certain they were battle mages? They were wearing grey robes with mystical insignia on them, explained Cassier. I figured they were mages, and why else would such a vast number travel with the army? They couldn't have all been healers. You fool, roared Vivek. They're mystics schooled in the art of alteration. They've cast a spell of water breathing on the entire army. Vivek ran to a new vantage point where he could see the north. Across the lake, though it was but a small shadow on the horizon, they could see gouts of flame from the assault on Ald-Marak. Vivek bellowed with fury, and his captain got to work at once redirecting the army to circle the lake and defend the castle. Return to Dwenin, said Vivek flatly to Cassier before he rode off to join the battle. Your services are no longer needed nor wanted. It was already too late when Morrowind army neared Ald-Marak. It had been taken by the Imperial army. 19th Midyear 2920, the Imperial city Cyrodiil. The potentate arrived in the Imperial city amid great fanfare, the streets lined with men and women cheering him, as the symbol of the taking of Ald-Marak. Truth be told, a greater number would have turned out had the prince returned, and the Versedu Shai knew it. Still, it pleased him to no end. Never before had citizens of Tamriel cheered the arrival of the Akaviri into their land. The Emperor Reman III greeted him with a warm embrace, and then tore into the letter he had brought from the prince. I don't understand, he said at last, still joyous but equally confused. You went under the lake? Ald-Marak is a very well fortified fortress, explained the potentate. As I might add, the army of Morrowind has rediscovered now that they are on the outside. To take it we had to attack by surprise, and with our soldiery in the sturdiest of armour. By casting the spell that allowed us to breathe underwater, we were able to travel faster than Vivek would have guessed, the weight of the armour made less by the aquatic surroundings. And attack from the water-bound west side of the fortress, where their defences were at their weakest. Brilliant, the Emperor cried. You're a wondrous tactician, Versedu Shai. If your fathers had been as good at this as you are, Tamriel would be Akaviri domain. The Pontitate land had not planned to take credit for Prince Julek's design, but on the Emperor's reference to his people's fiasco of an invasion 216 years ago, he made up his mind. He smiled modestly and soaked up the praise. 21 Midyear 2920, Aldmarak Morrowind. Severin Shorak slithered to the wall and watched through the arrow slit the Morrowind army retreating back to the forest land between the swamps and the castle grounds. It seemed like the ideal opportunity to strike. Perhaps the forest could be burned and the army within them. Perhaps with Vivek in their enemies' hands, the army would allow them possession of Ald Laval as well. He suggested these ideas to the prince. What you seem to be forgetting, laughed Prince Juliak, is that I gave my word that no harm to the army or their commanders during the truce negotiations. Do you not have armour during warfare of Akavir? My prince, I was born here. In Tamriel, I have never been to my people's home, replied the snake man. But even so, your ways are strange to me. You expected no quarter and I gave you none. When we fought in the Imperial Arena 5 months ago. That was a game, replied the prince, before nodding to his steward to let the Dunmer battle chief in. Juliak had never seen Vivek before, but he had heard he was a living god. What came before him was but a man, a powerfully built man, handsome with an intelligent face, but a man nevertheless. The prince was pleased, a man he could speak with, but not a god. Greetings, my worthy adversary, said Vivek. We seem to be at an impasse. Not necessarily, said the prince. You don't want to give us Morrowind, and I can't fault you for that. But I must have your coastline to protect the Emperor from overseas aggressions, and certain key strategic border castles such as this one, as well as Ald Umbel, Tel Alrun, Ald Lambasi, and Tel Mothrivara. And in return, asked Vivek, in return, laughed Severin Chorak, you forget we are the victors here, not you. In return, said Prince Juliak carefully, there will be no imperial tax in Morrowind unless in return to attack by you. You will be protected from invaders by the Imperial Navy, and your land may expand by taking certain estates in Black Marsh. Whichever you choose, provided they are not needed by the Emperor. A reasonable offer, said Vivek after a pause. You must forgive me, I am unused to Cyrodiils, who offer something in return for what they take. May I have a few days to decide? We will meet again in a week's time, said the prince, smiling. In the meantime, if your army provokes no attacks on mine, we are at peace. Vivek left the prince's chamber, feeling that Al-Malexia was right. The war was at an end. This prince would make an excellent emperor. The year is continued in Sun's Height. Well, that was a long book, but worth a read, I think. Just once in a while I will read one of these books, if I feel like it, and I did then, so it seemed like an interesting topic, and a book I hadn't seen before. Hopefully it wasn't in Oblivion. Very long book. So where do we want to go here? I've kind of lost my train of thought after reading such a long book. War quarters, let's check those out. Hope we haven't been in here. We have to level up also. Let's level up first of all. Don't know what we're actually going to pick here. Let's see. Stamina, I think, is best still because it gives us more carrying capacity for one thing, and also more for using sword and shield. It's best to have a lot of stamina. Might want more health though also soon. So smithing, we need 80 to unlock the next part of smithing, so we can't go for that. Heavy armor reading for heavy armor by 20%. Or we could go for speechcraft. Like what do we have in speechcraft? Speech is 45. Okay, it's speech, not speechcraft. Bribery, what's this? Wait. Buying and selling prices are 20% better. That's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? That's very nice actually. But what about one-handed? Let's see. What can we get in one-handed? What's this? Attacks with war axes? No. Savage strike. Okay. Backwards power attack is a 25% to paralyze the target. What's a backwards power attack? Like in Oblivion, you had to move back while striking. That was kind of hard to do. I don't really like those types of moves, to be honest. Dual wielding attacks are 35% faster. Well, I'm not really dual wielding, I'm using a sword and shield. Is there nothing for shield block? Okay. Blocking is 20% more effective. Time slows down if you're blocking during enemy's power attack. Deflect arrows. Power bash. What is in the heavy armor tree? Half damage from falling. Unarmed attack with heavy armor gauntlets do their armor. What? Unarmed attack with heavy armor gauntlets do their armor rating and extra damage. Oh, armor rating. Oh right, I see. You can use your gauntlets to attack. 25% of armor bonus if wearing all heavy armor. Well fitted. Alright, we'll go for that then. Increase armor rating by 20%. Sweet. Right, let's see. Items. Take a look at it now. 41. 85, sick. Very nice. Check this place out. It's the war quarters. It should have some nice weapons or else armor. It might just be dwarven though, which I don't actually need. What the hell's that? Is that a chest?